We have yet another fishy situation on our hands when it comes to this Texas shooter. It seems like it's looking like it's more and more of a psyop every single day. We've had a bunch of these lately. We've had a bunch of these psyops, and unfortunately, it's sad because I don't know whether or not to believe everything that I'm seeing. It's a really sad situation because people lost their life. So you want to take it very seriously. You want to be able to, respect the families and everybody involved in the situation. But at the same time, it's like very obviously a psyop. So the focus shifts from being sad and mourning those people and being respectful to those people. It shifts away from, that whole situation to just it being a psyop, to it being a very obvious psyop where they're trying to blame people like Tim Pool and like libs of TikTok for radicalizing this and other people like this into committing mass shootings. Like the situation is just wild, man. And like I said, it's just happening more and more recently. And it seems like they're getting so shameless with it. Like they don't even care that we know that it's a psyop as long as their own NPCs, everybody who's going to buy into anything the government puts out there, as long as those NPCs, as long as those bots just get the correct download, it doesn't matter if the free thinkers are buying into it or not anymore. They understand now that we don't care about what they say at all. They know that we're not going to believe a single word they say no matter how hard they try. So they're just going to not try anymore. They're like, you know what? We have one side that no matter what we say, will always believe everything we say. And we have the other side that no matter what we say, will always question it. So why would we even try? Let's just not try to get the free thinkers and keep our bots moving in the right direction. But here's a tweet from Andy Go. I think is how you pronounce his last name. I always pronounce it wrong. I'm sorry. The brown face of white supremacy. A leftist Bellingcat writer has posted screenshots from the purported obscure, can't read that name, social media profile of the Allen, Texas mass shooter, Mauricio Garcia. He's trying to link the shooter to Timcast, which is Tim Pool, and libs of TikTok. The account has photos of random Latino people wearing or posing in front of neo-Nazi symbols. Bellingcat is a government-funded site that has sourcing from intelligence agencies and employs radical leftist writers. So it's just from that tweet alone, you think it's like a little bit fishy that Bellingcat is a government-funded site that has sourcing from intelligence agencies and it employs radical leftist writers. It's a little bit fishy just off the rip there. But once people start pointing out certain things, we'll see a response from Tim Pool to the whole situation. Some other people pointing out some things that just make it a very, very obvious psyop, or at the very least, some twisting of information, some definite twisting of some information. Here is a person that ended up blocking Andy. I haven't checked if this is actually him in the picture. Leftist writer Eric Toller has deleted the following post. He likely did find a social media account belonging to the Allen, Texas gunman that featured brown Latino neo-Nazi propaganda, but he mixes information, let's see, with his biased commentary and unverified information to try and malign conservative content creators. And here is the original tweet. I haven't checked if this is actually him in the picture. I assume he just posted it because he's a big swastika/SS fan. He has them all over the rest of his profile. So there is, like I said, already fishy. Now we have accounts like Right Wing Cope tweeting out stuff like this of just screenshots of him watching Timcast, of him watching Tim Pool. Here is him watching Just Pearly Things interviewing Nick F. That I'm not allowed to say his name. It's insane that I can't, but that's the world that we live in, man. But here is just him watching Timcast. Apparently that makes him a Tim Pool fan, and Tim Pool radicalized him to the point of he shot up a mall. Like, dude, this is just absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And the fact that he goes in and screenshot, or they post it at least, who knows what other Just Pearly Things content he's watched and screenshotted on his phone. And why does he have just random screenshots of him watching these things in the first place? Like, that's also fishy. The fact that he just has a bunch of screenshots of him watching Timcast, man. Like, what? Why? Why? There's nothing interesting going on in these screenshots other than him watching Timcast. And the same thing here. They didn't think that they should try maybe a little bit harder to make it look like he's a fan of Nick and Tim? Like, dude, you could find some other things that he screenshotted or that he took pictures of to make it seem like he's more of a fan of Tim Pool than that. Like, you could have tried a little bit harder, but I don't know. Like I said, they don't even care anymore. They're not even trying anymore. Here, the redheaded libertarian says it's a psyop and it's not even good. In response to this tweet from Ian Miles Strong, this tweet says the alleged shooter's alleged profile claimed that he was inspired by libs of TikTok. Between this and the Tim Pool references, this thing is suspect. Where is his Twitter account? Why was he using a Russian social media site to write what was essentially a diary to 0 followers? Yeah, so he was posting all those things, all those, I'm going to say Yahtzee from now on. I can't say that word too many times. All that Yahtzee stuff and things like that they were posting all over the place. He was posting all those things to 0 followers on a Russian social media site. Like I said, man, not even trying anymore. They're not even trying anymore. They don't care who believes it on our side as long as they're bot NPCs As long as they get the proper download, that's all that matters. And here we have Media Matters talking about Tim Pool responding to the whole situation. Tim Pool calls the Allen, Texas shooters pro-Nazi online, I said the word again, I'm sorry, footprint as a psyop and blames mass shootings on multiculturalism. Here we have Tim Pool responding to the whole situation. So, I mean, the first thing I just want to say before we get into any of the politics from either side is we don't want these things to happen. We want these things to stop. We need to figure out what the issue is in our society and our culture. I genuinely believe it's disassociation. It is a dejected society where individuals don't know or care about each other, and they seek validation or they seek to push some extremist ideology. And this whole thing creates a recipe for disaster. By the way, this is Tim Pool talking right here on his show. And I'll put it simply, I think it's multiculturalism, and not the idea that people of all different types are holding hands under the rainbow. It's that you have different communities stacked on top of each other and next to each other with wildly different views, and they don't like each other. And then people who are crazy will do crazy things. But what ends up happening today, we have this story from the Daily Mail revealed Texas gunmen staked out massacre mall to monitor peak times 3 weeks before killing 8 and posting details on Russian social media alongside photos of Yahtzees, guns, and ammunition. You see, here's where we get into the psyop. So Tim Pool knows it's a psyop. The redhead libertarian knows it's a psyop. Ian Miles Chong and Andy, I don't know how to say his last name, I'm going to say Go, knows it's a psyop. Everybody, I think it's actually No. I'll say Andy No from now on. Andy No knows it's a psyop. Greg Price says this here. You're telling a Mexican guy just happened to have Nazi Yahtzee tattoos and by total coincidence about Yahtzees along with prominent conservatives on a Russian social media account with 0 followers. And this discovery was made by a guy who works for an org bankrolled by the CIA. It's obviously a psyop, man. Everybody can see it. But like I said, they don't care. They don't care if we can see it or not, because they know that we're not going to believe this shit no matter what. We're not going to believe this shit no matter what. Even if they tried really hard on the psyop, if it was well put together, there was no holes in it, like there are very many holes in it, obviously. But even if there wasn't any, we still wouldn't believe this 100%. We wouldn't just go into it blindly believing it. We'd still question it. And we probably eventually figure out that it was all BS, or, I think obviously the shooting actually happened, and that's very sad. Rest in peace all those people, obviously. And I feel really bad for all their families because now everybody's focused on this psyop instead of the actual tragedy that happened. It's an actual tragedy, and there should be a focus on fixing that and stopping those from happening in the future. And instead, we're focused on this very obvious psyop with these people blaming Tim Pool and Libs of TikTok for radicalizing this person. It's a crazy society that we're living in now, but it is what it is. We have to keep speaking out about it. We have to keep bringing attention to it, or else it will never, ever get fixed. Let me know what you guys think, though, about them trying to blame Tim Pool and Libs of TikTok for the Allen, Texas mass shooting and all the other BS that's been happening with this situation. Are you buying it at all? Do you think that this is a psyop, or do you think that it's actually just Tim Pool and Libs of TikTok's fault for the whole situation? Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments.